With Season 17 less than a week away, and not a dicky about what the theme is, what subclass is getting revamped, absolutely nada, we are going to take a look at some exotic weapons that are getting big changes in the coming week. We already covered Leviathan's Breath and exotic glaives in recent videos, but you might want to start dusting the following ones off, peeps. With that said, let's get into the video. First up on the list is the original trace rifle, the Forgotten Coldheart. Back in the day, this was the DPS weapon of choice against Callus in the Leviathan raid. Now it has been all but forgotten. Luckily, exotic trace rifles are getting a 20% damage buff against non-red bar combatants, and an upcoming change will allow the weapon to generate ionic traces, which grant ability energy. Gun's current functionality is simply continuously holding the trigger, and damaging a combatant increases the damage output on said combatant. Useful against stationary targets such as stun champions. Not that at present you would use a trace rifle against one, right? But who knows next season. The only subclass at present that benefits from traces is Military Stormcaller, but with this change, it will give build crafters a new option. Second on this list is Graviton Lance. This exotic pulse rifle was one of the Red War exotics that you could obtain by simply playing the campaign at the time. It's had a few iterations, with the most recent one changing it to a 2-burst and causing targets to explode. Its catalyst, which grants it hidden hand, effectively gives the weapon enhanced target acquisition. A little underwhelming, don't you think, for this current sandbox? Well, Bungie thought this too, and it's getting nuked. They are swapping this out for Vorpal Weapon, meaning a 20% damage increase against champions and bosses, and Turnabout, which grants an overshield when breaking a combatant's shield with the weapon. If we get an anti-barrier pulse mod next season, keep an eye out for this very reliable pulse rifle. Third, and probably the most revamped exotic weapon on this list, is the full auto exotic scout rifle Skyburner's Oath. This weapon, apart from over-penetrating phalanx shields and dealing bonus damage to Cabal combatants, is one of the most underwhelming exotics in Destiny history, period. At present, it has 2 firing modes. Shooting from the hip shoots faster, fires seeking shots at targets, and does an area of effect damage, whilst aiming down sights slows the RPM but grants higher damage. Neither of these are very appealing, and quite frankly are not fit for the current sandbox. Thanks to the devs at Bungie though, the following changes have been made to the gun. Both firing modes are now 150 RPM. Aiming down sights, fire mode, projectile speed has been increased to maximum, meaning it will hit the target the moment you release the trigger. Hip fire shots no longer track, but arc instead and do a bigger area of effect damage, and is now primed for airborne combat. It also applies a burn on targets when hip firing, which may be important depending on what changes are coming for Solid 3.0. Watch this space, people, this weapon is making a comeback. Last but not least on this list is Wavesplitter. I will always be fond of this weapon as it got me my first ever 7th column in Crucible, but apart from that, in its current state, it's not a great exotic. It currently alternates between 3 damage modes whilst holding down the trigger, and picking up an orb grants it the highest damage mode for a short period. Not only is it benefiting from the same damage buff as Coldheart, its damage is being baselined with the 2nd damage mode tier. Picking up an orb grants max damage for 10 seconds, capping out at 20 seconds based on the number of orbs you pick up, and suppresses targets in max damage mode. This gun is about to become an interesting option for Void 3.0 builds, especially considering Siphon mods are a thing. Getting multi-kills will give you orbs that will allow you to hold on to max damage mode, and if you're running Devour, okay, I'm getting way ahead of myself, but you get the gist of it. We haven't covered all the exotic weapon changes, of course, but we will be visiting them during the new season. I'm excited for these upcoming weapon changes, and I will be looking forward to picking these up when Season 17 launches. Let me know in the comments what you're looking forward to in Season 17, whether it's PvE or PvP. I will be covering it all on the channel. Please drop a like if you found the video informative at all, and subscribe, pretty please. It's the best way to support me. Thanks for watching. This was Plasma Alchemist. Your viewership is much appreciated. Until next time.
Fight forever!